Hey up guys, S-Man back at it again with a brand new Horizons review. Now, I'm just gonna get right into it, so if you make sure you guys like this video, subscribe for more content like this in the future, and even leave a comment about your thoughts on this episode, and even the episodes upcoming in the future, because we're about to get a lot of bangers. But, let's just get right into the review. This episode basically starts off with a recap of where's Freed been doing. Freed's been researching all of Terrapagos' notes within Diana's research. Along with that, we also see Orla, who has actually confirmed that the ship's progress is going efficiently and should be done soon. And she's actually even going to add a bunch of modifications to the ship to make it even better while she's repairing it. This is when Freed actually gets a lead on something and decides to go check it out. Meanwhile, the kids are continuing their journey when they run into Anne. Anne and them basically catch up. She learns that Wattrel evolved and Hatena evolved, and she also finally sees Terrapagos for the first time. This leads to Liko and the kids telling them the story of Terrapagos and some of their adventures. Interesting Anne, and she actually asks if she can continue traveling with them to the school and potentially in the future. But this is when Freed calls Liko and actually asks her about a potential detail, seeing if it's been consistent with Terrapagos. Whenever Terrapagos summons Lucius, there's always been a sort of like pinkish smoke surrounding the area and just aura. Freed wants to know if it's assured to have happened every time they've had this kind of encounter, which Liko actually confirms by saying yes and mentioning all the specific moments. And that's all that Freed needs. He wishes them good luck on their terrestrial course and heads off to basically go confirm his lead. And then we get a funny scene of Tinkatink running around with Duwa and almost taking out Liko, but Terrapagos saves her life again. This is when Freed arrives to the old lab he worked at and speaks a bit with his boss, while on the side, his Chinchino is cleaning Pikachu's hat. That seat is kind of fun. But yeah, they basically discuss both their researches and how they're both hitting a roadblock. And that's when Freed actually asks if he can look into the old project he was working under when he was under this company. So, because it would help him with what he's researching now. So the boss gives him his old ID and allows him to go look around the lab. That's when Freed runs into one of his old co-workers that he inspired to basically work harder and be better within the lab. Because this scientist also knows about what they were doing, he actually asks if he has any of their old research on his computer, which he does. He has a bit. That's when we see this interesting pink crystal, which I definitely think it's that ore that Gibeon wants. Especially later on in the episode, we see something interesting about it. But yeah, that's definitely the ore Gibeon wants, and then Freed wants to go check it in person to basically ensure his suspicion. And based on how it looked in the pictures they have, with it being surrounded by the pink smoke, Freed definitely is picking up that this has a strong tie to Terrapagos. Now, I'm curious if this ore is also considered to be Terra crystals, because here's the thing that's confusing me all about this Muguasa Paradise thing. Is it Area Zero or not? Because it's confirmed to be Terrapagos' home, and there's these strange crystals and ores that apparently grant kernel-like power and strength that Gibeon wants. Are these Terra crystals or not? Like, that's literally what I'm confused about. And like, because if they just retcon the entirety of Terrapagos not being from Area Zero, that makes zero sense with the lore that Terra Orbs still work, unless Terra Orbs were created from Rukosa. But yeah, Freed goes into the basement to go check on this old experiment in storage. That's when he's attacked by all the guards Pokemon, thinking he's an intruder. But in this battle, Cap accidentally breaks the security camera and causes to alert all the security to rush Freed. But yeah, that's when Freed checks the lab and notices that the crystal is actually gone. Now, Freed realizes he needs to get out of there, the second security there, so he rushes out with Charizard and has Pikachu take out all the Pokemon as he escapes the building. And we actually see a mysterious scientist reach his hand in his pocket, and this is actually Spinel confirmed to have stolen the ore for Gibeon. Now, the only thing about this episode that weirds me out is like Freed really just went in there, basically broke into the basement, and potentially, to what it looks like to every other employee there, stole the pink crystal. Is Freed gonna clarify what happened with his boss, that it was gone when he was down there, and that the guards Pokemon thought he was an intruder, so they attacked him, and that's what set off the alert? Because it's kind of weird that it isn't. Oh, I also forgot to mention, when Freed and his little friend were looking more into the crystal on the data website, it had actually been blocked from an outside source, which turned out to be Spinel. But yeah, then we get a scene of the kids just talking a bit more about Liko and Anne have a one-on-one about their journeys together, apart, and what's happened so far with all of them in Terrapagos, and that's when they arrive at the school and run into it. But yeah, and then this episode ends off with a really interesting scene where Amber takes Amethio to have a one-on-one talk with Gibeon. They talk for a bit, and it's actually revealed that Gibeon is Amethio's grandfather. And that is why Terrapagos recognized him. Because this basically explains a lot about that whole random scene where Terrapagos seemed to have recognized Amethio. He definitely sees Gibeon. And this also works out because Liko's grandmother literally said the explorers were Lucius's friends. Gibeon is the leader of the explorers. So yeah, Gibeon's probably lived like thousands of years. Potentially, the rocks from Rukua make immortality, and that's why whenever we see Gibeon, he's in a room within this, like, the pink smog that we normally see Lucius in. Yeah. I was technically right. I predicted that Hamber, when I thought Hamber was the elite boss of the Explorers, I thought he was going to be the one that was Amethio's grandfather. Because, like, I always, like, thought, oh, maybe the highest ranking of the Explorers would be Amethio's grandfather, and that would make sense for Amethio, who seems to be, like, one of the younger workers here, is such a high in command. Same thing with Coral, but I don't know how to call it. But yeah. Amethio then calls his two, basically, I don't want to call them goons, but, like, realistically, we've only seen them ever work under Amethio. He calls Kanya and Zur to actually catch up with what they have been doing. And it turns out that while the other three Explorer bosses have been at the Academy, they have been watching Spinel, the one who didn't go to the Academy, and his plans on the side. And they actually revealed to Amethio that he was the one who stole the crystal at the research facility Freed visited. That's when Amethio's plans to get Rayquaza and Terrapagos go into fruition. Now, this was a good episode. It was definitely well needed. I feel like it could have happened potentially a little earlier. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm kind of iffy about, oh, Freed just happened to work at this research facility that had this crystal, and he just remembered it now. It makes sense that after a bunch of more research on Terrapagos, he was able to kind of relate it. But I don't know. My highest hope was that Freed would visit Area Zero, and that's what he hadn't done anything yet. He was waiting for Gita's permission to go to Area Zero. But I can accept this, and I kind of like seeing Spinel again, and Spinel pulling strings on the side, stealing the ore, and potentially finding a way to get more. I like that scene. I like all the scenes with Anne interacting with the kids. And I also like the reveal with Gibeon and Amethio, and I just hope this means we get to see more Explorers, because although I've been greatly enjoying the current arc, I feel like it's kind of weird that we put a pause on the actual, like, story to Horizons for the Terra training course. I feel like a better approach would have been, we set up the Paldea school that Liko goes to early on, do a little bit of, like, travels around the world, then the ship damages, and then that's like, hey, Liko says, hey, might as well go back to school. Because now it's just, only reason I feel like Liko is doing the Paldea school is because they happen to have, like, landed in Paldea, If they found Rayquaza in any other region and with that big battle happening, they would have been like screwed. Like how they wouldn't have been able to do the Terrasso course. But yeah, overall, I give this episode an 8 out of 10. It was nice seeing the plot get pushed forward a bit more, and it was also nice seeing Anne again, and also like Freed being a major role. And I also liked that they kept the details from previous episodes, like Captain Pikachu's little sneeze attack when it gets called Key. Hope you guys like this video. Subscribe for more content like this in the future. S-Man signing off.